Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike from 1AAuto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And next time you need parts for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, we're going to show you front shock replacement on this Ford Explorer Sport Trac. Same for Sport Trac, as well as a lot of Explorers, Mountaineers, and Rangers. We show you the left side, right side's the same procedure. You'll need new front shocks from 1AAuto.com, penetrating oil, 10 to 14 millimeter wrenches and sockets and ratchets, and you may need a reciprocating saw if your shock is in rough shape, although we avoid using it in this video. Okay, we were checking some other things on the suspension of our truck, and as we come under here, we can see, if you look at the shock, you can see it's got some oil down below that section, and that is a sign that your shock is either bad or it's wearing out and going to be bad. And replacement, we're going to start spraying down the top of the shock there, and we can see it's in pretty good shape. If yours was pretty rusty or old, you may want to use a reciprocating saw and just cut the bolt and the top of that shaft right off. It can be a lot easier sometimes, but again, ours looks to be in pretty good shape, so we'll lock a set of pliers onto the top to hold the shaft from spinning. And then it's a 14 millimeter bolt on this shock. It could be different on yours, but remove that nut. And once it starts going, we'll just fast forward here. And once we get to a certain point, we can take the lock pliers off, and then the nut comes off the rest of the way, and also remove the top washer and bushing. Underneath, the shock's held on by 2 bolts. I have it up on a lift just to make it easier to show you. But the 2 bolts, you can see here, I'm going to spray them down a little bit on the bottom, and then you need to hold them on the top as well. You see one up there, and I'm using a wrench to put it on the bolt at the top, and then a socket and ratchet with extension to remove the nut on the bottom. And once you have both nuts off, you can pull one of the bolts, comes out pretty easy, but the other one kind of stays in there. You have to force the shock up, compress it a little bit, and then pull it back and out. Take your new shock from 1AAuto. You want to put a washer on top first, and then one of the rubber cushions, and then put the shock up into place. And you're going to have to kind of force it up in, compress it some. So you put it up into, obviously, where it goes, the shock mount at the top. You'll have to force it up and then into the mount at the bottom. And then once you have it in place, you're going to start the nuts and bolts on. On some shock designs, it may be good to put a bolt into place first if the shock kind of has an open end to the bolts, and sometimes if the shock has a closed hole for the bolts, you'll want to put a bolt into the shock first and then install it into the car. Now tighten up both lower bolts. Again, you're going to want to have a wrench at the top, hold the wrench, and then tighten up the nuts nice and firm. Don't over tighten them, you don't want to break the bolts. Back up top, you want to make sure that the lower bushing is lined up in the center of the hole. Put the upper bushing on, and then the washer, and then thread the nut on. And then we'll fast forward as I tighten up that nut. You want to tighten the nut until those 2 bushings compress and are basically the same diameter as the washer. You can see that they're smaller diameter than the washer now. You compress them down, and they kind of get basically smushed out until they're the same diameter as the washer. And then the particular shocks I'm installing come with a second nut that goes on, and you tighten it down onto the other one to lock them in place. So here I'm just putting an adjustable wrench on the bottom one, and then tightening up the top one down onto it. And then repeat everything for the other side. Thanks for tuning in. We hope this video helped you out. Next time you need parts for your car, please visit 1aauto.com. Also check out our other helpful how-to as well as diagnosis videos.